Hey guys, I hope everyone enjoys this more casual format. I feel like I can do more videos and actually fit more videos in when I'm not setting up so much stuff. So I'm just trying to be more casual, at least for my vlog stuff where I'm just talking about random crap that probably nobody cares about. But yeah, I like a more casual format. So if anyone is watching this, let me know if you like that. If you don't like it, I'll go be all fancy smancy and I'll get my mic and I'll get my backdrop and all that stuff. But for now, I'm trying to roll with it. Trying to be just cool with it. So I wanted to do a follow-up after going to see Disclosure Day. I'm not reviewing the film. I'm not talking about the film itself, like how amazing it was, because that would be a whole other video and I have so much to say about it. I'm really just following up for anyone that does care, because I know there's a few random folks out there that do care about this scenario. I'm really just following up on my video I made the other day about my experience with the phenomena, with the owl, if you will. Just call it the owl. I want to follow up about how I feel after. So, if you watched my original video, I talked about how I had this experience almost 10 years ago with the phenomena. I interacted with something that appeared to me in an animal form and had a communication and an experience with it. That's the best way I can put it, and if you're curious about it, go back and watch my video, The Owl. I do my best to get through a very emotionally intense description and revisiting of what I experienced, which still pales in comparison to the actual experience, but it's the best I can do. Some people who watched it said that I really did a good job of really putting them there. I did my best. So this is a follow-up about that. For anyone that knows me or watched that video, you know that I intentionally put that out and recorded that story and got that out, which was very difficult to do and super nerve-wracking and very scary before the movie came out, because I had seen his sparse little trailers. Steven Spielberg did really sparse trailers. He really did not give anything away. But from the teeny tiny bit, I knew that there was overlap and that it had something to do or was similar to my experience. So I was like, this is going to be huge for me. One, I knew that the movie was gonna be huge for me because I'm really into this topic anyway, a lot of people are, so I knew it was gonna be exciting and big for me anyway, but I knew that there was another element that he would be bringing in when he showed in his trailers the little bits about animal consciousness and this whole experience. I don't know how else to say it because I'm, like, more confused now, and I'll get into that. So I knew I need to get my story down before this movie drops, before it's out, because just in case it ever matters, or maybe just for me personally, I don't want people or whatever, no one's even watching it, to think she's making up the experience from the movie, which I don't think anyone would think that anyway. But I just, you know what I mean? It was time sensitive for me that I wanted to get it out. And I had held it in for so long and I had not told anyone. And I had so much fear. And I still have so much fear telling anyone about these things or talking about these things. But here I am opening my yapper on the internet. So I got the story out. It's really difficult to get out. Everyone who cared was really nice. I'm sure there's some silent people out there that were just like, she's a lunatic, and went on with their day. But for those who cared and people who get it or maybe have had their own experiences, it was really cool to prompt some interactions about that experience. So then I dropped my video about my experience with the entity, the phenomena, the owl on the 11th. I uploaded it that night on the 11th. I think it was past midnight at that point. My video kind of came out on the 12th, whatever. And then I went to see the movie on the 13th of June because I wanted to see it early. I didn't want it to be out for a long time and everyone to be talking about it. I wanted to have my own experience. You know, when there's a sports game or something and it's don't tell me the score, because I wanted it to be, so I was like rushing to go see it as soon as I could. So I saw that on the 13th and today's the 14th and I've just had a chance to sit down. Let me tell y'all, I had a really hard freaking time with that movie in the best way. It is probably going to take me weeks, if not months, if not maybe even years to put together what occurred in that movie last night. And I'm still very confused. I came away with a lot of answers and I feel like a lot of gaps filled in. And I came away with way more questions, which is always how it is with the phenomena. If you're into this topic If you're an experiencer yourself, it's like this labyrinth of stuff. And I'm really a conspiracy theory resistant person. I really push back against all that stuff. Really, when it comes to anything in the UAP topic, extraterrestrial topic, phenomena topic, my area of interest typically lies in fringe science, physics, quantum physics, things like that. The little bit I can understand, that's usually where I fall more. I'm not really into the whole conspiracy theory thing. And then I have a heavy interest in human psychology and consciousness. So those are the areas where I fall into in terms of interest. So I had this crazy experience with the entity almost 10 years ago. I think we figured out I think we're leaning towards it being more 2017. So it would be 9, almost 10 years ago. I have this experience with the entity, the phenomena, the owl. I'm confused for many years about what happened to me. I'm being private about it. I'm being silent about it. I'm researching. I'm journaling about it privately. I start coming out to my husband about what happened bit by bit, telling him a little bit more with each passing year. Hey, remember that thing? Okay, here's what actually happened. And he was so patient with me and non judgmental with me, which was cool. I remember the first time, I remember where I was the first time I told him the whole story. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to be brave and I'm just going to tell it to you. And he did not judge me at all. He was just like, wow, that's amazing. And I've told him lots of freaking stuff, right? I have gift of dreams and I deal with clairvoyant stuff, and it's just a whole thing that's been that way since I was a kid. And it's just something I've struggled to understand and to work with and to live with because it's not all fun and games. Anyone that has that will tell you that it's not all fun and games. So he's really been a big support. So I'm not afraid to tell this man my dreams, a download, a vision. I'm not afraid of any of that. This I was afraid to tell him because it was so different. So finally told him, and then fast forward to now, I gained more and more understanding over the years about what my experience was. I came out and was more and more honest as time went by, and my story has not changed since the beginning. Not one bit, besides me being more honest about it and more open about it. Then this movie comes out. Now, I feel like there's two categories that the movie Disclosure Day falls into. Category 1, it is a fantastic, wonderful, and thorough survey of the almost 50 to 80 year, depending on where you mark it from, like cover up, legacy program, all that stuff when it comes to things having to do with the phenomena, UAP, technology, extraterrestrials, all that. It is a wonderful compressed survey. So if you are a newbie to that topic and you want to find out what's going on and you're like not somebody that dives into this stuff often, go see the movie. You'll be fine. It's great. And it talks about the consciousness element. I feel like it's definitely made for that crowd. 2, I think it has 3 elements. 1, the beginner crowd. Great survey, very thorough of everything from way back when up until now. It brings you up to speed. So it's great. He did fantastic. No notes. Number 2, I think for people that are into the UAP topic, the UFO topic, the extraterrestrial topic, the phenomena topic, it's gonna be a great celebration. We're gonna be like, "Yes." And so it really appeals to that crowd as well, in my opinion. But there's a third crowd that it appeals to, and it's people like me. Now, that third category of actual experiencers, specifically with the animal component, I'll get into it here in a second. Yeah, I'm just so shook. I think that category and that element is gonna be a little bit weird to the first 2 categories of people. I feel like people that are novices are gonna be like, "Okay, what's with the animal thing? That's weird." And I feel like people that are into the topic, but not into the consciousness, more spiritual side of the topic are gonna be like, "Okay, cool, I kinda get." They're gonna think it's just an allegory, right? Which is excellent as well, and that's why he's such a genius. There are people like me who have experienced exactly what he portrayed in the movie, which I still don't know how he did, that are sitting there, "Whoa, what is happening?" So I'm in all the categories. I'm like a category 2, category 3 because 'cause I'm into this topic and I'm an experiencer, and I'm not just an experiencer in one way because when I hear someone say that they're an experiencer of the phenomena, I'm assuming abduction, there was, like, a gray in your house, you touched a craft. That's what comes to mind for me when I think about experiencer, not my experience. But in the past year, I was talking to Ryan about it last night, and he said year to 2 years is when I've been, like, come into full understanding of what that was. And now I do define myself as an experiencer with what I know now. At the time, again, I had said in my other video that I categorized it as spiritual. I was like, "Okay, that was just really freaking weird." It was tangible. This is not a dream. This is not a hallucination. This is a physical, tangible, three-dimensional experience in corporeal reality that I just categorized as spiritual. But now I have a different understanding. So it was difficult for me. The movie was difficult. I had my family there and my partner and my kiddo. She's old enough to watch it. She didn't really like it. She thought it was scary. It was hard. It was hard to get through because my experience with the entity, the owl, was so jarring and so visceral, and I have spent the past 9, almost 10 years trying to recreate it, find pictures, find stories from other people that have experienced the same thing. I have found stories from people that have experienced the same thing, which has been amazing. So that's cool. That has brought me so much comfort of being like, "Okay, I'm not the only one." But in terms of the imagery and the experience, he delivered. And I'm talking pinpoint accuracy, and that's the thing that's throwing me for such a freaking loop, okay? So I'm not gonna give away the movie or anything like that, but I have searched for the eyes I saw and had an experience with, that locked in experience, for the past almost decade. And in his movie, last night was the first time that I've seen them again. And I'm not talking, "Oh, they were similar, they were the same shape, they were the same color." Identical. Identical to the point that I am sobbing in the theater, okay? Everybody else is just watching this fun theatrical movie, and I'm over here, tears streaming down my face. I brought makeup wipes with me because I figured I'd get emotional, like, hands over my mouth, like, just kinda losing my snot in the theater, right? Because it's that accurate. Not only is it visually that accurate to what I experienced, and I'm not gonna give anything away, they also describe it. So you can go and watch my movie that I put out, my video that I put out on the 11th about my experience with the owl and what I said about it, and then you can go watch the movie, and in the movie, they say, "Oh, yeah, this happens to people." I won't give away the movie, but they say, "Oh, yeah, the animal experiences where you get locked in and you can't look away until they release you?" What? And then proceed to show the exact same imagery that happened to me? So, putting it mildly, I struggled. In the best way, because it was both. It was such a feeling seeing the movie of terror and confusion and profound such a profound experience and validation, like overwhelming validation. And that filled in so many gaps for me, but at the same time, I was left being like, "Wait, what does this mean?" So I feel so validated about my experience after seeing the movie, and I'm so glad I got my story out beforehand. But that means that the experience I talked about that I thought I was completely alone in, that I've kept completely to myself, and the experience that Steven Spielberg put in that movie means that it is a common enough experience to make a movie about. What? That's the thing I'm stuck on today. Like when I got out of the theater and all night last night, I was up really late, just like stewing about this, and all day today. If Steven frickin' Spielberg makes a movie about something, that means that it's a thing. You see what I'm saying? So, if it's a thing and you were that correct, you were you made something identical to what I saw, and you obviously had to talk to other people because I went and checked last night and today to see if in any of his interviews he has ever talked about having his own experience. I was like, the only way you would know that is either you've spoken to somebody else it happened to or it's happened to you yourself. And he says he's never had an experience and he's upset that he hasn't because he represents all this stuff in his films and his work and he's so known for that. Yet he's never had his own experience unless he's lying, which seems silly. So that means you consulted people. whether that was government officials or experiencers directly. You had to talk to people in order to derive those visuals. And I'm not talking about, oh, a bunch of people said they see like dark eyes that they interact with, or they get locked in like a trance state. No, when you see the movie, you'll be like, this is literally exactly what Ezra described having. So what that tells me is I'm not the only one. I figured I wasn't the only one, but now I know that I'm not the only one, and that's crazy. So that's what's got me reeling a lot since seeing the movie. I'm absolutely gobsmacked by the accuracy. I was not expecting that. I expected it to be allegorical, symbolic. I expected it to be along the lines of my experience. I expected to make me feel a little bit better about the experience. The bro made a movie about what happened to me, but to other people, obviously. And that is more of a head trip than I was expecting. So I'm very emotional throughout the movie. I'm like crushing my partner's hand. I'm crying. I have to go to the bathroom because I held my pee the whole movie because I couldn't leave because it was so good. And I run to the bathroom to go pee, and I don't think it was like a panic attack. I think it was like an emotion attack. And I broke down in the bathroom in this public theater full of fucking people. It was awful. Some lady knocked on the stall and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Thankfully, I had a pair of sunglasses in my bag, and I just put those on. Cried my lashes off in the freaking bathroom. It was awful. But not in a sad way, not in a scared way, just overwhelmed. Just being overwhelmed and feeling validated, but so many questions, and just feeling like I wasn't crazy because I really thought that. Yeah, feeling like I wasn't insane. The sudden knowledge that there has to be other people that have had this exact experience. And again, I'm not talking about abduction. I'm not talking about vehicles. I'm not talking about trap. I'm talking about something else. And Steven Spielberg did the masterful job of being able to talk about all the mainstream items of the topic and the something else. And the specificity has me shook. It's one of those things where, when you have a synchronicity happen, that like for a few days, you're just like, what? Like, how is that possible? Multiply that times 100. That's what's happening to me right now. And I just can't. I'm like, where are the cameras, right? Where's Ashton Kutcher? Is everybody going to jump out at some point and be like, just kidding? So yeah, it was incredible, and I highly recommend it. And I don't know, I've just spent a lot of time in silence, and I'm gonna need a lot more time in silence just processing. After the movie, I couldn't just go home. I literally crawled through the edge of a parking lot into a grassy field and just sat there. I couldn't even drive away. I just had to just sit there and be like, "What the hell just happened to me?" That was crazy. I have so many questions. I have so many specific rabbit holes of thoughts to go down on this topic. And he brought it all the way to present day. That's all I'll say. He brought it all the way up to literally what we're experiencing in the media this week. It's Sunday today, and there was another disclosure drop on Friday, and he literally lined it all up, and it was just so well done. Props to him. It's Steven Spielberg, so yeah, duh, but mind blowing. Yeah, it was a pivotal moment for me for sure. I can definitely describe my life as before that movie and after that movie because it's so personal to me and means so much to me and is such a commentary on my experiences. I think what was also interesting is my conversation with my partner after because he's been with me this whole time. And he was like, "Hey, I believed you before. I never doubted your story ever of what happened to you." But now it's kind of different to see what you saw and the way that the movie talked about it. But for him, he's always believed me, so it didn't alter that, but I think it just intensified it. And in the movie, without giving too much away, they talk about how that experience changes you as a person. And that is true for me. And that's something I didn't go into in my original video because, again, I was doing a really just quick overview. This is what happened to me. I need to get it down. It's time sensitive. It happened this long ago, and here's what happened. Just getting that down. So I didn't talk about how it changed me, what occurred after, how it's affected me since, what it's led me to in my life that I would have never come across, all that. But one of the significant things my partner said to me last night after the movie was, "I knew you before the experience and after the experience." And he said, "And it changed you." And I can say that it changed you. And it did. It changed me in a lot of ways. And I had a lot of crazy stuff that came and happened after that, just stuff that to this day I'm still experiencing crazy stuff after that experience, and wild, absolutely wild stuff. So maybe someday I'll go into that because that's a whole other thing. But I'm feeling I was expecting to feel validated. I am so much more validated than I ever could have imagined from the film, and I'm validated to a point of specificity that is then in turn freaking me out again. Does that make sense? It's just too accurate. And if I could be alone in a room with Steven Spielberg, I would be like, "Where how do you know that?" That I would have one question. I'd be like, "Great job with the movie, amazing. Thank you for making this for people like me and for people that need more exposure to this and talking about this topic more. And how did you get that? How did you emulate that?" I wanna know the process. I wanna know what his answer would be. Would it be, "Oh, it's just a lucky guess." Bullshit. Bullshit. That's not a lucky guess. You personified an experience that I know I've had, and if you, sir, are making a movie about it, that means you've talked to one or multiple people that had the same experience as me, and that's all I need to know, and that's all I care about, and I wanna talk to them because it's crazy. And then there's so many other questions that spin off of that. So many. And I'm somebody that I stay steeped in this stuff, like, so it was disconcerting during the movie, a lot of crying. I think just because it was so overwhelming and jarring and it's been so long since my experience, so to see it again in front of me was really crazy. Again, not giving anything away. I had my experience, which I described to you guys, and they lead up to a moment just like that in the movie. And when that thing opens its eyes, I saw again what I saw that day, like almost a decade ago. I then did that on purpose. He wasn't just, "Let's make them large black eyes with blue constellation depth." No, no. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I have so much more to say, but I just wanted to follow up for anybody that cared. I wanted to come back around because I saw the movie and it blew me away. One note about the movie. When the movie first started and everybody's gonna have their critiques, people get so worked up about things. I thought that the acting and the dialogue sounded very stilted to me. I was like, "What's going on? This is weird." It was very, like, almost like monologue style, like the way people like miniature monologues that people were speaking in, and I was like, "Why is he doing it this way?" He's known for these amazing actors, and it almost felt a little bit stiff in a way, and I figured it out. How do I say this? I think my opinion is that Steven Spielberg, instead of having a storyline and then, like, words and characters that are speaking around a storyline, I feel like he took the phenomena and the history of the phenomena, and he turned all the information of that into the dialogue. The things they are saying are so specific. If you know anything about this whole world of stuff or you have gotten interested in it at all, you'll be like, "Yep, yep, yep." So he reverse engineered, no pun intended, the dialogue, in my opinion, from the history of this issue. Not the other way around. Not, "Here's the story, and we're gonna have powerful dialogue around it." The dialogue is delivering information. So if you're watching it and you're like, "Why are these actors, like, being kinda weird?" They are delivering information, they're making points, and he just left no crumbs. He left no freaking crumbs. There are gonna be people that hate it. There's always haters, but I thought it was absolute perfection. I could do a whole other video on just the movie itself and how well done it is. I love movies and stuff like that. I'm a big movie TV person, and I feel like I'm doing such a piss poor job at explaining how impactful it was to me and how accurate it was. But what I will say is what I experienced almost a decade ago in the woods when I was taken over by a creature and given a message, can't believe I'm saying that out loud on the internet, ah, is what he put in the movie. Precisely, perfectly, and accurately. You could swap out what I saw in the movie for what happened to me almost a decade ago, and there would be 0 difference. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting a great survey of this. I was expecting commentary and disclosure and UAPs. I was expecting a consciousness element. I thought it would be cool. I thought it would be emotional. Blew my mind. The man took my brain and everything I care about and talk about and my experience and reached inside it and rearranged it and flipped it inside out and then was like, "There you go." Surreal doesn't even begin to describe it. And then walking out of the theater, you're in a sea of people when everybody gets up and walks out, and I'm just like, I'm in shock, I'm dissociated, I'm crying, I've been crying through the whole GD movie, and I'm looking around and everybody else is just joking around and headed home. I don't know, and that was, like, one of the weirdest parts was after. So I'm sure everyone found the movie impactful, I'm sure they enjoyed it, but I was just like, "I wanna know who here is having the" I was looking in the crowd for a face that was experiencing what I was experiencing and not finding it, and that was, like, the trippiest part, so, I don't know, I hope there were other people there like me. If you are an experiencer, trigger warning, take someone with you. Ooh, it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Maybe I'll make a part 3 when I have had more time to think and process, but I was forever changed by my experience almost 10 years ago, and now I am forever changed by Steven Spielberg making a movie about it, because how often does that happen? Apparently a lot to me, so I don't know. I wanna find the others. I wanna find the others that have experienced what I've experienced. I wanna find the others that watched the movie and felt the way I felt. I wanna find them, I wanna talk to them. Hopefully, like, the FBI doesn't show up at my house or something. I doubt it, but I'm just saying. And I'm gonna keep loving this topic and this phenomena, and I don't wanna talk about it a whole lot on the internet. It's all I want to talk about because it has to do with, like, consciousness and the nature of reality, and I have so many different doorways into it, and everybody does who's interested in this, but people do still judge you, and people do still get, like, shitty with you and stuff, so I wonder how many people in the past few days have decided that I am a nutbag. If they didn't already think that, but it's time to be out about it. Like, I feel like if I didn't talk about what happened to me, I'm part of the problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's the right thing to do to talk about it, even though my experience is small. Phenomena is not about me. She's not, it's not about me. I am just one tiny voice of one tiny experience. And I know people have had even crazier experiences, but I feel like it's the right thing to do to come out and talk about it and normalize it. And the message of the movie and my message to everyone else and my message to myself from the movie and from my experience almost a decade ago is that we are not alone and you are not alone. And I think that really at the end of the day is the biggest message. So go see it, guys. It's really good. Okay.